Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. And of course, we have Kelly with us today. And we are in kind of late spring now, mid-spring, late spring, almost to May. Summer is around the corner. So I hope everybody's feeling good, feeling optimistic. Kelly, how are you doing today? What's your outlook for coming on tail end of spring here?
I think it's good. I mean, it's challenging. The market's challenging right now, and obviously in Phoenix, it's going to be a little more challenging as we head into the middle to late part of summer because July and August.
Days.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot, and July's not the most busiest month. Let's call it, right. So it'll get a little more challenging, but that's okay because some people will choose to check out, and we won't. We're going to continue to rock and roll. So that's a big challenge for I think agents in
pick
this
up the slack for everybody else.
That's it. But honestly, most of the May and June is good. People moving for schools and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of reason to be optimistic and continue this challenging market.
Absolutely. Finding new ways to get around it. And just, I know that just real quick, I want to touch on something that you said a long time ago when the market was booming. It was great, right? Like years ago, 2021-ish around there. And you said, you got to make hay while the sun is shining, right? And so we're on the opposite end of that. So hopefully you heeded that advice back in that time, kind of, took advantage of that and set up your dominoes correctly so that you're not, that you are at least have some buffer, have some room, have some lessons learned as we are in a more challenging market now. So just wanted to bring that back up because we are on the kind of opposite end of that that adage, right? And on the other side of it. So
yeah, money management is huge, and to your point, right? And we have we could do a whole episode on that too. But yes, there are people right now that are struggling because they made actually a lot of money when the hay was shining, but they don't have the savings, the buffer, the reserves, and this is the part where the people who do will continue to thrive and take more market share.
Absolutely. Well, today we are going to talk about, I mean, we've had a couple of things in real estate news, things that have been happening over the past couple of months. A few weeks ago, we let you know a little bit about some AI tools that are coming to these different, the different portals, Zillow, homes.com, and kind of brokerages that are going with these different portals. So a little bit of a shakeup there that's been underway now for a little while. But this week, we actually had some new news in the real estate world, and that has to do with Real and Remax. So Kelly just told me about this. I hadn't heard about it. Clearly, I'm not on the pulse as well as he is. But Kelly, let's get into it. What's going on there?
Yeah, guys, this just happens to be about one of the companies that I happen to work with. So it's not this podcast is broker agnostic, right? This is about selling more real estate and things that make your business better. And so it doesn't matter what brokerage you're at or I am at. This just happens to be one of the two companies that are involved with this merger and acquisition is one of the companies that I work for, right? That is Real Broker. Now, Real Broker just announced Monday morning that they are buying Remax. Remax Global, Remax Holdings, it's called officially, right? So this is a big deal. Now, a lot of people have a lot of comments and thoughts on this. Is it good for the agent, the industry, and what's the chess move being made here and why? And so let's just chat about that real quick. I think we talked about Compass buying Anywhere services. We talked about the private exclusive battles, right, between Compass and EXP and Remax involved with partnering with Zillow or homes.com or Google or these different portals and aligning themselves strategically. Well, Remax has been offered by a couple different companies, big brokerages before, to be bought, and for whatever reason, the purchase could not happen. Maybe Remax declined it. Maybe the person who wanted to buy it declined it. I don't know. It does not matter. But I know KW, I know EXP had all been in talks previously to potentially purchase Remax, and for the reason it just did not get done. This one did. And it's going to be finalized later on in 2026. Guys, this is big. This takes a company that is known for being almost polar opposites, two companies, polar opposites, and combining them, which is interesting definitely on a surface level. But let's go a little deeper than that. Okay, what is at stake here and what is happening? Well, let's talk about Real. Real now is the fastest growing brokerage in North America and has been for quite a while. Organic growth. They never have acquired anybody or done anything of that nature. 33,000 plus agents. Remax has been on the decline in terms of agent counts, but they still are a big player. I think the second largest brokerage in the world. They're in 120 different countries and about 145,000 agents. So that is a big deal. Now, you combine that, and you're talking somewhere in the ballpark of 180,000 agent company by the end of 2026 when this deal goes through, making it the largest potential real estate brokerage in the world, I think, at that point. I think KW was at one point around 180, but now they're down. They're losing agents as well. I think last time I heard they're down around 150,000 or so ish. So big news. Now, Real is known for the tech-based, forward-thinking AI company that is not about office space and cloud-based revenue share model. Real is just almost the opposite. You're talking franchise model. You're talking brick and mortar. You're talking legacy agents. Now, what's interesting is because of the financial model that Remax has, a lot of the agents with Remax, in fact, Remax has one of the highest per agent productivity count of any brokerage in the world. So the agents that are there, for the most part, sell real estate, which is what you want for any company, no matter who you are, right? You're in the real estate broker space, you want agents to sell real estate. So you have that going on now because of the financial. I think a lot of that has to do because of the financial model that they have, which usually includes a pretty substantial monthly fee that agent has to pay. So you're not going to hang your license there and work there if you're not going to work, right? Because you can go somewhere else where it's $25 a month or something, right? A lot cheaper, or zero for that matter. And so you have that. And then you have office space, you have franchises, but understand the Remax model to an extent. The Remax model is a franchises. A lot of them are independently owned and operated. Meaning, when this deal does consummate and goes through, a lot of these franchise owners that have the umbrella of Remax, the balloon on their door, they could choose. My understanding is right now they could choose not to be part of the merger. They could take their franchise, if you will, and they could potentially sell it or potentially even move it to just XYZ and Associates, that sort of thing. Be independent. Now, don't hold me on anything on this, please, because a lot of this is speculation as of right now, what's going to happen, because right now the details are not super clear as to how everything will work. But one thing is for sure, that the deal has been consummated and it will go through officially later in 2026. Now let's talk to stock market, okay? It's funny how everyone became a stock expert overnight almost on this deal. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is a bad deal for Real. What are they doing? Because their stock market plummeted 25% approximately on the news. Wow. And Remax's stock went up about 20% on the news. But then I think back to my college education. And if you just took Finance 101 or maybe even 202, right, in any business class, I'm a business major, had my MBA. This is Finance 202 at the very least. They talk about mergers and acquisitions in your finance class and what happens in the stock price regarding this. The acquiring company, the one that gets acquired, I should say, their stock always goes up, almost always goes up in the near term. And the company who acquires, because they're taking on usually more debt, bigger responsibilities, et cetera, initially, their stock plummets. That's just how it works. I don't care if you're in the semiconductor industry. I don't care if you're in the furniture industry or the brokerage industry. It doesn't matter. That's how it works. So instead of being a stock expert, I think everyone should take a deep breath and say, look, what's best for the consumer, what's best for the industry, what's best for the agents. And there's no doubt that for Real agents and Remax agents, that the combined nature of forces of these two companies cannot do anything, in my opinion, but help the agents that are with that company, which in turn will hopefully help all of their clients and their businesses. So I like the now the name. Let's talk about the name. The name's going to be Real Remax Holdings. That's going to be the new name of the company. It's going to be like a parent company.
Very creative.
Yeah, very creative, right? I mean, right? It's going to be a parent company like Anywhere Services is, that owns Coldwell Banker and Sotheby's, right? That sort of thing. So for any brick and mortar, any signage, it will still continue at this point to be the actual name that it is. So Remax office currently, if it stays upon the finalization of the merger, will still be Remax outside on the window or whatever, right? Any Real offices, like I own my own office, Real doesn't provide it, but I own it. And so we have to have obviously the compliant brokerage name on the window and signage. It will still say real. And so that part won't change anytime in the near future, but there will be some blendedness of the technology for sure. The financial model potentially will change. I think agents will have the opportunity to switch over to a revenue share base, maybe smaller flat fee cap like Real offers. If agents want to stay on a franchise fee, I don't know how that works. I don't know how that's going to work, but right now Remax has a franchise fee, right? An agent pays a franchise fee in addition to their split to their local office. So I'm assuming it's going to get cheaper to be with Real. So, how that works out with current Remax agents, still yet to be determined to an extent in terms of their options there. But one thing that is for certain, if you are a Remax agent and you want to make that move prior to the deal being solidified later on this year, you certainly have that option to do so. You can move over to be a quote unquote real agent right now if you want, knowing that the merger is coming later this year, and anything that you liked with Remax, you probably will still have access to an extent when that happens. But yet you are moved over to be with Real, so you take advantage of the Real low stock price because we're around $2 right now, and the Remax stock price is around, I think, $11 or $12. So obviously, if you take $100 out of your wallet and you spend it on stock, you get a lot more shares buying it at $2 than 12, right? So you can take advantage of that and the stock bonuses that you get as being with a real agent when you do produce and sell real estate, like you're going to do anyway. And then, of course, revenue share. You want to attract other Remax agents over to the company because you come first or something like that, or any agents from any company. Then you have that option as well. So if you're a Remax agent, definitely reach out to me. Love to sit down, have some coffee with you, and just explain the process and the system and the model that Real has, so you know it in depth, so you can make an informed decision. But either way, I think at the end of the day, 5 years from now, holy cow, it's going to be pretty cool. And I'll say one more thing on this. Let's talk about technology, okay, for a second. There's no doubt that Real, in my humble opinion, is the leader in technology for the real estate brokerage space. And the number one reason is not because it's, well, I think it's probably better at the end of the day, but they own it. So they can pivot. They can build upon it. They can add things. Now, if you white label someone else's product, you don't have that ability to do it. You're paying for a licensing fee or whatever you're doing, right? A monthly fee or whatever it is. So you need a permission to do certain things, and there's certain things that they probably can't do because it's just not built to adapt to it, right? So on the tech side, what Real I think is smart about this and doing is to get, they have two big plays on the tech side. Number one, financial technology, the Real wallet, where they act as a bank. Agent can run the whole business off of it. There's Real capital. You can borrow money that the company will give you an unsecured line of credit on. You get credit card point or debit card points for using your debit card to buy your groceries like you would with your Amex at Walmart. All that, and we can go in depth on that later. But the second play is the AI home search, which we touched on a couple of weeks ago, like you said, on the podcast, which will be the only brokerage by far that has anything like this. Now they'll be competing with home search portals for that in the future of those eyeballs.
But they don't own them.
But they don't own them. They're for the agent, not for that dollar bill to sell leads to an agent. Okay. Now, think about this. Right now, it's 33,000 agents. To get the financial technology and the AI search to really pop and therefore make the company more profitable in the eyes of shareholders and make stock go up, et cetera, what do you have to have? You have to have agent adoption. You can have the coolest products ever, but if no one uses them or very few people use them, then, Wall Street will be like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's a nice little product you have, but no one's using it.
There's no demand.
So therefore the profits, the margins, the gross revenue, the profits aren't that high. And so, But now, so let's say you had, with 33,000 agents, you could get 50% of the company to actually adopt that. That'd be pretty cool. 15,000 plus agents, whatever, using it. Okay, maybe that's enough. I don't know. I'm not a Wall Street guru, but I will say, when you go from 33,000 agents to 180,000 agents, and let's say you had the same, whatever that percentage is, same 50% that adopted it, now you have, instead of 15,000 people using the financial tech and the AI home search for all of their clients, now you have 90,000 if the percentage is the same, right? Think about that. Now someone goes, holy crap, overnight, relatively speaking, you have now a boatload more of people. Wall Street doesn't care about whether they have a license or not. They care about if it's being used, and therefore gross revenue is being generated. And that stuff is working. Then all of a sudden they go, okay, this is a force now. We will reevaluate this whole thing. And if you do get reevaluated as a fintech company, right? A lot of fintech companies, their share prices are a lot higher than real estate brokerage prices. That's just what it is. I look at Visa, American Express. I don't pick a fintech company. That's the same market cap size. So anyways, a lot of things to think about and a lot of speculation. maybe
A lot
all
of
of
things
this,
we don't know. Yeah.
yes, maybe all of this ends up being a huge flop. I doubt it because Remax has been a long time. And Real's been around for a decent amount of time. And it's been growing like crazy. So you wouldn't think that would happen, but you never know. A lot of it's still speculation. I just want everyone listening to this podcast to understand all the things that we know about it today. And as more things come to us in the future in terms of how the integration will play out towards the end of 2026, we'll report on that here on the podcast as well.
Absolutely. Well, everybody stay tuned for that. We will be back next week with something else to help you grow your business or something else that you should be aware of that's happening in the real estate world. As Kelly mentioned, if you are a Remax agent currently, feel free to reach out to him. And if you're not, feel free to reach out to him for whatever reason. And Kelly, where can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, Instagram at Kelly Cook Homes, or just shoot me a text 480-227-2028.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a good one, Kelly.
See you guys.